Okay, cool. So, hi everyone. So today we have got Hina, who's going to be joining on our podcast, and she is an absolute star. Like, it's just been amazing just to see like her changes with everything. So, don't mean to make you blush, sorry as well. And Hina has kindly given time to kind of talk about her journey and with like where she started, where she's at, her massive, massive changes in terms of mindset, consistency, and everything. But before we kind of get started on that, Hina, if you're up for it, just to kind of introduce yourself a little bit. So just tell us about who you are, what you do, just everything, if that's okay
Yeah.
as well.
So thank you for that introduction.
That's all right.
My name's Hina, and I am a pharmacist by profession.
Yeah.
I work in general practice,
Yeah.
which is quite a very much a sit-down job.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I live with my husband and my daughter, in Milton Keynes. Yeah,
Awesome. Cool.
little
And
snapshot.
I think what's really important to kind of share with everyone is everyone at your work is possibly in a bit of a different vibe to you. So you're happy to kind of share what is the typical vibe at lunchtime at work?
Absolutely. So my office is right next to the admin team's room. And I think we have an ongoing gag now between ourselves that
Yeah.
what's the admin girls having for lunch today?
Yeah.
And they like to explore the full depth of Deliveroo a couple of
Yeah.
times a week. So there's always something
Yeah.
weird and wonderful coming through the doors.
Yeah, which is also quite challenging because when you can like smell all that food coming through, it
Yeah.
can be so easy to like want to give in or to be like, oh, actually today I'll give in kind of thing. But you have like kept super strong with everything, haven't you?
Yeah. So they're always kind of shouting across the wall, like, you know, what we're ordering? Do you want anything?
Yeah.
But I'm always trying to, but it's good because I usually order at 12 and that's when I have my breakfast. So
Nice.
I'm kind of, it's good timing. So it's not quite
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I'm glad they don't like order it a bit later, like when it's that afternoon slump and then it's like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
whole
Then
other
I wouldn't do
time.
that. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
different conversation then.
Yeah, I love that. And if you don't mind me asking, and also if you're happy to share with everyone as well, is what kind of started you on your journey? Like, was there a bit of a point that you thought, oh, I really want to like change myself? Or that sounds wrong to say, but you know what I mean? Like, what kind of triggered you to start, if that's okay as well?
So I think that it's something that I've kind of always carried with me since probably teen,
Yeah,
and then through uni,
yeah,
and then working life and beyond.
yeah,
And I've kind of gone through loads of different diets and stuff. And I think that the point for me was actually a photo of myself that I saw
yeah,
at my daughter's birthday last year. And
yeah,
I think that for me was kind of like a bit of a, okay, you need to do something.
yeah.
You need to try something that you haven't tried because nothing that you've tried so far has worked.
Yeah. And when you saw that photo, did you kind of think that you were a bit unrecognizable, or were you just like, oh, like, who is that? Because that's what a lot of mums tend to say after having a little one. But
Yeah. And I think it was also it was a bit of a reality check of what I thought I looked like
mm,
and then seeing and like the perception I had of myself versus what it actually
yeah,
looked like and what
yeah,
I came with other people.
yeah, that makes sense. And if you don't mind me saying, like throughout your journey, like you've had some tough times, I think, but now I feel like you are on a high. You've got a goal we're working towards, got a countdown. And if you don't mind actually sharing some of like the moments that have felt quite tough, or some of the moments like one thing that I just loved actually reading this morning was about like how you were saying about going to the gym and how it could have been quite easy not to go yesterday, and then like I thought that was amazing, just again like that big change to keep up with being consistent. So yeah, feel free to share on that side.
Um, I forgot the question.
So I think I sorry got distracted by your comment this morning because I was like, oh, it was so good. I'll kind of slow it down to be like, are you happy to maybe share like some of the obstacles or hurdles that you may have had like since having your journey? I'll start on that one and then we'll go on
Yeah.
the other one.
So I think it's been just kind of adapting to all the different types of changes that I've incorporated. So
Yeah,
if I look back to where I was this time last year and where I am now,
yeah,
every aspect of my life has changed in terms
yeah,
of my health and fitness.
yeah,
And I remember when we first started and we were ticking off these things that we were going to do. And I
yeah.
remember thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do this. It's going to be so daunting.
Yeah,
Um, and like, okay, I'm here and doing
yeah.
it, which is great.
Yeah. And I think what for me has always been really great is that you've just been really open about everything. So I'd like to hope that anytime like you felt like something was a bit too much, I'd always be like, okay, well, let's change it to something that doesn't hopefully feel too overwhelming. And then it may
Mhm.
mean I've got to change something else along the line to help things balance out. But that's what I found really useful was like we just had that really open and honest like relationship, I feel, right? So it would just
Yeah,
be like we just say how it is, and I'm like, that's cool. I'd rather know than like not know. And then
yeah,
like just to kind of guide you through there as
yeah.
well. And then kind of talk through, like, if you don't mind me saying as well, like your relationship with the gym. So like how it started, where it went, and where we're at
Mhm.
now, if that's
Yeah.
cool.
So I think when I started, so I used to go to the gym at uni,
Yeah.
um, and it would be kind of here and there, and then I had a personal trainer for a little while, and I trained for like a 10K
Yeah.
walk for life type thing,
Yeah.
race for life, and um, and then it kind of just went a bit downhill after that.
Yeah.
It was one of those where I just keep giving money to them and didn't really do much with it.
Yes.
Um, and I think even when we started,
Yeah.
I struggled to get the workout side of it kind of in lock.
Yeah.
And I think really it's only fully clicked for me probably in the last couple of months,
Yeah. Yeah.
where I'm actually seeing like physical changes
Yeah.
as a result of it.
Yeah. And also I feel, maybe I'm wrong, so correct me, that you're
Mhm.
enjoying it a little bit more as well now. So
Yes,
it's more
yeah,
like, so let
yeah,
me know if you're like, no, I hate it still. I'll be like, oh
yeah.
God.
I cry every day. No,
Yeah.
I definitely think that I've always read and heard people say,
Yeah.
you know, go to the gym because it makes you feel good, like do it for
Yeah.
your own feelings. And like I've never
Yeah.
really believed that could happen, but
Yeah.
now I do.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think that kind of spurs you on to then keep going, doesn't it? Because, actually you'll feel really good after you go.
yeah,
And I think also like for me, it's been so nice to see like your strength improve in the gym. And every time like you send me a post-workout selfie, like you always look so happy. And I'm like, oh, how can we not want this feeling like all the time, right? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
hopefully motivating on
yeah,
that side too.
yeah.
And it's also like quite cool, like even when you're doing your cardio, again, like you're like really clockwork at like tracking everything, keeping everything updated. And I think
Mhm.
like those things make such a difference because it's so easy to like say, oh, I'm going to the gym. And then that's so different to actually working out in the gym.
Yeah,
Because I don't know, like when you went at uni, I know when I went, I'll be honest, now looking back, I really was not doing anything in the gym.
yeah,
I would like maybe like sit on a machine, have no idea how to adjust it, watch
yeah,
other people and be like, I'm going home now.
yeah,
Kind of
absolutely. I
thing.
think when I was in Liverpool, I used to
Yeah.
literally go to the gym and just walk on the treadmill and maybe
Yeah.
like run for like 30 seconds. Like I could
Yeah.
do that on the street.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Paying that gym membership.
Yeah. And then and then later in uni when I started going a bit more,
Yeah.
that's I was always really like scared and kind of it felt quite daunting to kind of go towards like the weights and the machines. So it was
Yes.
very much just a few different cardio bits and that'd be it.
Yeah.
But now I'm like right in there, like
Yes. I love it. And did you feel like uni there were just loads of blokes in the weight
yeah,
section as well? Like I feel it's a
yeah,
bit different now, I like to hope. But actually, would we have gone to the same gym thinking about it back in the
yeah.
day?
So the one opposite the font, it was like a new
Uh,
building.
like in the student. Oh yeah, I don't even know where
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was. How embarrassing is that? I think I went like 4 times and I paid for a year's membership. Yes, yeah, there. Oh, that was like quite far actually for me. So it was really close to uni. But like if I
yeah,
was in the flat, I'd be like, oh, there's no
yeah. It's
chance.
way
It's
too
like
far.
a half an hour walk or
Yeah,
something. I'm like,
not worth
and
it.
then it was right next to like a Tesco, and I just like get loads of
Yes,
discounts.
yeah. Like you have to get snacks on the way home.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a workout otherwise.
No.
Yeah, and as we know, like because obviously Liverpool, like it's known for like it's like cheesy chips and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So we've had those habits like bred into us from like
Yes.
the start. But then I guess now as well, like what would you say have been like your biggest breakthrough moments or like mindset changes that you'd feel versus like months ago or before you started, like where you're at now, kind of thing as
Mhm.
well.
Um, I think there's been a few like
Yeah,
kind of stemming from like loads of different parts of it.
yeah,
So I think in terms of like the the boredom eating, the stress eating, I think I've kind of something's clicked in
yeah,
that aspect
yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Um, and kind of like eating for the sake of eating, even if I
yeah,
don't really feel like eating whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
which is something probably I've just done my whole life without even realizing.
Yeah.
And I think growing up, it's always kind of been that thing of this is what your food is, you have to eat it. Like,
Yes.
don't leave the table until it's done, type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it's a deep habit to kind of
Yeah.
shake off, but I feel like I'm kind of chipping away at it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's like part of our culture as well, isn't it? It's like, not that my parents ever did this, but it's that whole thing of like the slipper will come out if you've not finished your food kind of
Yeah,
thing. Like,
yeah,
so like to every last pea on the plate and stuff like
exactly.
that. So
Well,
it's,
I always say I told Isla the story that
yeah,
my grandmother, when we were
yeah,
kids, we would go and spend the summer at their house,
yeah.
and she knew that I hated tomatoes,
Oh,
and she would always put tomatoes on my plate in the salad. It was like, Shaq,
oh,
let me this, that.
yeah,
And then I would be the last one on the table. They would have
yeah,
cleaned the whole kitchen. Everyone else would have gone up and
yeah.
sat there with this like
Oh,
tomato trying to eat it. It was just
oh.
like it's like imprinted in my brain now.
Yeah, that's so mean as well because I hate like fresh tomatoes because of the
Yeah,
seeds and the juice,
yeah,
and it's just like the skin gets a bit weird.
yeah.
It's like
It's too
it's not
much.
cool. Yeah, I think I had that with my gran and khichdi, so I used to hate it, and then she'd put
Um,
double portion on my plate, so now I can eat it, and I'd be like, oh come on, like there's no need for
it's just
this. I'm
like
like six
torture.
years old, like,
Yeah,
and I even remember like when people say they get forced food, like she
yeah.
literally would like hold my head and would have a spoon,
Oh
and
my
I'm
God.
like, so now when people say, oh, I was forced to eat, I was like, you really weren't forced because
Yeah,
like I have been force fed, and that's like
yeah.
a whole like you have neck strain from trying to
Yeah.
fight back kind
I
of
bet.
thing. So it's yeah. And what I also love as well, like if you're happy to share this again too,
Mm.
is that you've got your like WhatsApp group with your like, saying it out loud may not sound as cool as it is, sorry, but with yourself essentially. But I have
I
one
do
with
have
myself.
other people as well.
Okay, sorry. I actually have one by myself and I have to like
Yeah, yeah,
motivate myself to be fair. So
yeah.
that's why I thought. But I think that's been really cool because like you kind of collect, if you're happy to like kind of go through
Mhm.
what you collect in there.
Yeah.
As well.
So I think it was your idea originally, and
Yeah.
I always kind of when I'm scrolling through like Instagram or whatever, I always see
Yeah.
things that I like,
Yeah.
and I always think, oh, I'm going to send that to somebody.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I think, why don't I just send it to myself because
Yeah.
I'm the person that I want to see it again.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I have this WhatsApp group, and I also
Yeah.
put in our weekly feedback videos.
Oh, amazing.
Um,
Love
so
that.
then when I'm having like a lower day or like a can't be
Yeah.
bothered day, then that's
Yeah.
like my little go-to
Oh,
thing
that's
in my
so
bucket.
cool that you put that in there as well. Oh, amazing. Because that's so what I was saying before was about how yesterday when because it was a really hot day yesterday and then you came back and then like going to the gym, you're like, oh, like, do I want to do it? Do I not want to do it?
Yeah,
And yeah, so I'll let you share that story if that's okay as well, because that was cool.
yeah. So I got home from work and just
Yeah.
zero motivation. But I knew I wanted to go because I knew I wouldn't have time for the rest of the week until my next gym day.
Yeah.
Um, and then I kind of just I had the fan on, I was just sitting for a while, and I thought to
Yeah.
myself, okay, let me figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
So the video that you sent on Monday, the feedback
Yeah.
video, I
Yeah.
thought, okay, that's the closest one. So I
Yeah.
watched it, and then within like a minute of starting it, I
Yeah.
was like getting changed,
Oh,
and I was out the door before the video had even finished,
yeah.
which is good. But I
Oh,
listened to it the whole way to the gym, which is good.
oh, that's so
Uh,
amazing. Sorry it was so
yeah,
long for me as well.
it's fine.
Like,
It got
so
me all the way to the gym.
like, which is good. So good. And I think like for me as well, like what's been just amazing to see is like from where you've started your journey to where you're at now, like your consistency, like how you were saying it feels like just something's clicked. And I
Yeah.
just feel like, how even like if you've had family over or if you've been like on a hen, you really kept your head down and you really like, so when you send over a menu, like we'll plan it. And I can confidently say that I'd be like, okay, I know what Hina's doing this weekend because I know she's
Mhm.
gonna like follow through with it. And I think that's been like a game changer in just seeing like how your clothes fit and how like everything's changing with your body, I feel as well,
Yeah,
right? So,
definitely. And I think just to pick up on the consistency side of it, I think
yeah,
I was having a conversation a couple of days ago,
yeah,
and I was taking a picture of my dinner,
yeah,
and as a Hardik was like, "Oh, or do you still send those to Sheeta?" And I was like,
yeah.
"Yeah." He was like, "Oh, do you need to?" And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
actually, I don't know if I do because I
Oh, I
used
love
to."
seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep it up.
Uh, but I used to send them for that
Yeah,
because I needed that physical accountability to be like, this
yeah,
is what I've had. This, like,
yeah,
I know I have to send it.
yeah,
Um, but now I'm kind of just like doing it
yeah,
irrespective.
yeah.
But I'll still keep sending you the good.
Yeah, thank you, because they always look really good. And you're just forming that habit, aren't you? So it's like
Yeah,
just kind of, because there will be some days where, as you were saying, like we're not always going to feel like super on it. So actually
Mhm.
thinking, okay, if I'm going to send Cheetah this video of like my lunch with my skips and my like, you know what I mean, then you're
Yeah,
like, I've done it, and then I've like stuck with it kind of thing as
yeah.
well. But your food always looks like so good. And even when you send me like your weekly menu for the week, I'm like, oh, I'm looking forward to like Thursday's picture. Like it's going to be a good one. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, I've looked at this like first thing in the morning and I was like, I should have eaten or something like that.
I should
So
put like a warning beforehand.
yeah, maybe I'll still open it because I'm like a
Yeah.
foodie. So I'll be like, and what would you say has been like your best, or not your best, like your favorite foods that you kind of like to eat? Because they always look, everything looks good. It always looks really
Yeah.
filling as well, which is always nice. So
Yeah. I think there's been a few. So I'm completely hooked onto my morning porridge now.
yes,
Which, if
yeah,
you asked me a year ago, would I ever eat porridge? I would like
yeah,
probably laugh in your face.
yeah,
I've never eaten porridge. I tried it overnight once and it was horrible.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, every morning, like
Mm.
I love it now. And if I haven't had
Amazing.
it, then I definitely miss it.
Yeah,
And I think just been like I've always kind of been quite creative in the kitchen, so it's been
yeah,
nice to kind of put that, like, to not lose that skill, but
mm,
to kind of adapt it to this way of eating.
yeah,
So I don't feel like I'm losing out on like
yeah,
kitchen time or like trying new
yeah,
things out.
yeah.
Good.
And that's why like I think has worked really well, because it's always like tasty food, and it's not like you're putting it together for the sake of it. It's actually like stuff that tastes good and it looks
Yeah.
good. And like, especially, it was at the other day when it was like the lentil cheese bolognese.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this look like, I was like, I wish Hina just like lived near me and I would just be like, would even like convert and eat chicken maybe as well. I don't know. Like it was, probably shouldn't say that, but that's how good it looks basically. Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, thank you. And I know like this one may sound like a bit of an odd question, but how would you have felt, like, say for example, when you saw that photo that like triggered you to start your journey? Obviously there's always like two paths that we can take when we have that moment. So one
Yeah.
path is to kind of reach out and say, look, I need a bit of guidance because I'm trying this myself. I've tried different diets, it's not really worked. And then there's the other option of just being like, I'll just carry on as I am, and then, you know, like not making that change. Because I feel
Hmm.
like there are moments that a lot of people will have where they've seen it, but then sometimes they don't believe they can kind of get out of it sometimes as well. So I don't
Yeah.
know, did you ever have any like hesitations or any like worries to be like, oh, like I've tried so much, like what's the point of trying something else? Like, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? It'll be interesting.
Um, no, I think I kind of went a little bit more the other way, that I've tried so much and
Yeah,
failed so much that
yeah,
this is the only kind of route I haven't tried.
yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
and I think that I saw your page and the
Yeah,
information on your website and stuff, and
yeah,
thought this person kind of knows, like, seems to know what she's talking about.
yeah, thank you.
Um,
Yeah, no pressure.
you know, yeah, like she's not going to make things any worse.
Yeah,
With my whole theory behind it, so I thought,
yeah,
let me just try it,
yeah.
and
Nice.
if someone can help, then someone can help,
Yeah.
and it
Oh, I
worked.
like that. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like what I love is just like, you know how you're on like your winning streak of like ticking everything off. And
yeah,
what's so nice as well, like obviously because I check everything like every day, but you know, like on the weekly like summary essentially. And
mm,
it's always just so cool to be like, okay, so everything's going really well and we're going to kind of keep chipping away at it and
yeah,
look at the changes in your body. And I think it also kind of helps, you know, when we've got like a goal that we're working towards, because it makes it a bit more exciting. And then having that bit of a time frame, I find as well, doesn't it? To be like the
yeah.
countdown.
Yes, yeah. I think having the countdown for this trip in a couple of weeks has been
Yeah,
a really big push. But I also remember
yeah.
in, was it January, where we did that like 30-day
Challenge.
challenge.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think having that at
Yeah.
that time really helped, just to kind of be
Yeah.
accountable, and we were logging our
Yeah.
steps daily and all of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that helped just kind of push things along a bit.
Yeah. And sometimes I find it's quite handy, you know, when you're surrounded by other people who are doing the same thing,
Yeah,
because, you know, okay, if it was raining, you'll be like, okay, well, everyone else kind of managed to tick that target. So I should still also be able to manage it. And I think when I see, like, when I do those challenge things, I find that's quite nice. I find people push each other that little bit further because everyone's
yeah,
in it for the same reason, aren't they? So it's,
yeah, yeah.
there's nothing to, and there's no judgment from anyone. Like everyone's so chilled, aren't they? So
Yeah,
it's,
absolutely.
you know,
And I remember
helps.
there's a lady who did like 20,000 steps or something a day.
Yes.
Like, how
Yeah.
can this woman do this? But I
Yeah.
remember it kept me going. I was like, if she can do
Yeah.
20, I can do
Yeah.
10.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I mean. It's like motivating. It's not like, oh my God, that person's doing 20. There's no chance. It's like, okay, let
Yeah,
me see how much further I can get, kind of
yeah,
thing. It is.
yeah,
And I think someone asked her a question about how she did it. She's like, well, it's just easy. And I was like, that's probably not the most motivating answer. But I think like she just didn't think anything of it. And I'll
yeah,
be like,
yeah,
easy for some. But I'll be like, I'm there like averaging at like 12,000 and stuff like that.
yeah,
And even I would be like, I need to step it up a little bit, I think, as
yeah.
well. To be, yeah, it's one of them. And have you ever had like any, like, if you're like looking back on your journey, like, have you had any like highlights that you'd be like, oh, I really remember that day and I felt really good for like achieving X, Y, and Z? Because in a creepy way, I kind of remember people's highlights, and I feel like I may have some for you, but I'd like you to kind of think, oh,
Yeah.
actually.
Um, I don't know. So I feel like there's been so many along the way.
Yeah.
In like, I think in terms of like specific outfits
Yes.
that have
Yeah.
gone from like not fitting to like being loose.
Yeah.
Um, just like hitting these things which are like personal bests for me.
Yes. Yeah.
Have been really good. And also
Yeah.
just like those weekends where I've kind of come back to you on a Monday and been like,
Yeah.
actually, like I could have gone this way, but actually I like did really
Yes.
well this weekend.
Yeah.
And I tracked everything, logged everything, was happy with everything.
Yeah.
Um, and I always think that for myself when I'm filling out our feedback forms, if
Yeah.
I struggle to kind of think of the what could have gone better
Yeah.
section,
Yeah.
that's when I know that kind of I've accomplished a lot
Yes.
that week.
Yeah, because it's quite nice when you're like, well, actually, everything went quite well and it felt okay. It didn't feel like a chore to have to do it and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So I think that's what makes it easier, because otherwise it's quite easy for that, for us to be like, oh, well, actually, it was so overwhelming. There was so much going on. And then it would just, we can feel then like we're not at our best. But what I've like personally found as well, like your energy levels, like mindset wise, positivity, like everything has been great. And
yeah,
it's just nice because I think, again, it's like just from eating good food, keeping up with like working out, having that good feeling after as well. Like it's just,
hmm
yeah, just been amazing.
yeah,
And if you don't mind me saying as well, like say if there was someone listening to this and they'll be like, well, it's easy for you because of X, Y, and Z. Because I get that often. Like someone will say to me, oh, it's easy for you because you don't have kids, or something like that. And I'm
mhm,
like, well, I still actually wake up early, go to bed, like, I still make the most of my day.
yeah.
So if someone was to say that, what would be, not your answer back, 'cause that sounds a bit aggressive, but what would you
Mhm.
say to, yeah, to that essentially?
Um, I think I would just say that it's not been
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
And I've never like there's a lot of times where I have that imposter syndrome that like
Yeah.
kind of is this really what's happening? Like
Yeah.
this is what happens to other people on their stories. This is who I see on like
Yeah.
Instagram and like things like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't like I'm definitely not kind of at my end point yet,
Yeah.
but I think having that like you said like that click moment,
Yeah.
um, it's it's I think the journey has been like ups and downs and ups and downs, and
Yeah.
I'm definitely not that person who has that beautifully straight graph that
Yes.
just goes from up to down.
Yeah.
But I guess that's true of like anyone in life.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. And that's what makes us stronger in our journey, I find as well. Because
yeah,
I feel like when we have those ups and downs, that's when we're learning actually how to manage like tough times. And
yeah,
then even like, we may even just have like a flat graph for a little bit, but then we know the body's changing. So, and that's
yeah,
why like the clothes are massive. Like, every time you send me like, I remember like the first one, I think one of the first ones, it may not be the exact first one, was the
mm,
Liverpool hoodie.
yes,
And then I was like, oh, cool. Like, obviously, because like we're the same uni, but also
yeah,
it was like, now imagine if you tried that on. I can imagine it'd be like so different. And every time
yeah,
you've had that outfit, you really celebrated it. And that's what I love is like, you won't like just like brush it off and be like, oh, okay, well, it's luck that that's happened. You're like, no, I'm working hard for this. I
yeah,
deserve it. My clothes are fitting well. I can ditch these clothes. And
yeah,
yeah, you know what I
yeah,
mean? So,
definitely. It kind of like takes me back to my youth a bit.
yes. Yeah, exactly. Because you're not old at all. So it's yeah, you know what I mean? And I guess like the other bit would be like if you wanted to share like some like golden nuggets or like some words of wisdom to
Yeah.
someone, is anything that you would share possibly? Or
Um, I think I would just say to trust the process,
yes.
but let yourself have the time to build the trust for the process. You can't just
Yeah.
like wake up on day 2 and be like, I'm trusting the process, and that
Yes.
it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to build that trust.
Yeah.
And also, I think for myself, I found that just keeping the mindset of like, you're not gonna, it's not a quick fix. It's not like
Yeah.
overnight
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
But chipping away. So the whole
Yes.
concept of just chipping a little bit away, so
Yeah.
1% or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and so you don't set yourself up to disappoint
Yeah.
because you know that you're not going to be,
Yeah.
from 0 to 100% in 24
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. And I think also as well, when we're chipping away at it, it then means you're going to keep maintain it a lot longer, because,
Yeah,
when you do see that like really drastic, like someone may have a transformation, but no one ever shares like what happened afterwards, right? Like it's
yeah,
always like, and that's what I think with Instagram, it's so annoying, like with social media and stuff like that. And I don't know, I'm probably guilty of it as well. Like you obviously always want to share like the best moments and stuff like that. No one ever wants to share like if they're having a bad day. And I think with you guys in the Facebook group, I may be a bit more open, and I'll be like, oh my God, like today's been awful. Or I'll be like, you know what, things are just a little bit tough, but I'm keeping up with what I can. But like no one publicly normally kind of shares that. And I think that's
no.
when that whole like we can compare very quickly and easily to people. So it's
Hmm.
good that you're aware of like just trusting it, because I think
Yeah,
I've probably said it as well, like if you keep going like scientifically, there's no way it wouldn't work, right? Like if you
yeah,
think about it, like we're both scientists, like if we
yeah,
really think about it, and then
yeah,
you'll be like, yeah, that's so true. Like
yeah,
it's not like
exactly. I guess like human nature is just we live in a world where we just want everything straight away.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
and it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah. And I think the way like the future's going with like AI and stuff,
Mhm.
it's a bit scary. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I know, so just gone off a little bit, but it'll be interesting to hear your thoughts about where you think the future's going, kind of thing.
Well,
Like,
I don't know. I think it's good and bad. Like, I think it would be
yeah,
nice to have like the advancement in technology, and hopefully can bring it to things like medicine and
yeah,
health and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Um, Chat GPT is always good for planning a holiday. So they
Oh,
just do all the work for you.
what do
So
you
if you go
mean?
on
Like,
to so if you go
okay,
into like Chat GPT and you say
yeah,
like, oh, plan me a 3-day itinerary to go
yeah.
to Paris with
Oh,
a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, and whoever,
yeah, yeah.
and and it plans everything for you. So
Oh,
start
wow.
here, then there's a nice coffee shop here, which is
Oh my God.
kid friendly or this friendly or like this, and like
Oh,
everything.
that's so cool. Do you think we could do that for like restaurant ideas and stuff, like for London to stay in line with like progress or something? Like it'd be
So I think if you said to
like,
them like, give us we want to go for dinner in central London, but we want
yeah,
many options like high protein or this that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so good. This has like changed my life. This podcast. It's like, don't get me off my phone now. I'll just be chatting to like that. And then you guys will be like, where is she? And I'm like, wait, I'm just
Yeah.
sorting a few bits out,
We'll just
guys.
have like a chat GPT response coming.
Yeah. And I'll be like, just copying and pasting that. No, I'm not
Yeah.
like that. Can you imagine? It'd be, oh, that would make me so sad, because I love seeing like everyone's messages. And like,
Yeah.
it's like, I get hyped every morning to like wake up, especially, if I've got like CQC on a day and I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna wake up at 5 because I just want to make sure like, everyone's okay. And it's like yeah, I wouldn't be able to like give that control up to
Yeah.
to that kind of thing as well. And then I guess like just gonna ask if I had, yeah, like would you say if you were to like summarize like your 3 big wins from your journey
Mhm.
so far, which I know is not many, but are there any like really, really big ones you'd be like, oh, I'd love to share this with someone, kind of thing?
Um, yeah, I think I don't know if I can think of three, but
Yeah, no, sorry, yeah,
um,
it was like it's not many.
I can do one encompassing one.
Yeah, go for it.
So I think just um, I think the biggest win for me has been the mindset
Yeah,
and the lifestyle change.
I love that.
And I think I've got that like in the bag.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think the knock-on effect of all of that is
yeah,
the changes in weight, the changes in fitness, the changes in
yeah,
energy.
yeah,
And I remember when we originally started, you asked me to
yeah,
write down like my big goal, my big why.
yes,
Um,
yeah,
and like I'm doing that now, so I'm
yeah,
able to have more energy to be more present at home, spend more time
yeah,
with my daughter, like all of
yeah,
these things that I wasn't able to do
yeah,
fully.
yeah,
Um, and the changes and stuff that are happening physically
yeah,
are the byproduct of that almost.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And I remember you were saying like, yeah, like when you'd filled in like the form, like after the chat, and it was like just to be a good role model for Isla, and like just to be like the fittest, and like so you can run after her because obviously she's
Yeah,
so young and like full of energy. And
yeah,
even when like I'm pretty sure she's been like a couple of hit workouts, and I'm like, yeah, you go girl. I was like she's on it. So
yeah.
it's like,
Well, I was watching your Facebook Live this evening,
yeah.
and she was sitting with me, and she's like, "Mommy, who is that?"
Oh.
She was like, "Why is she talking?"
Oh.
But she said, "Watch the whole thing."
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
She's probably prepped for her bank holiday weekend then,
yeah,
right? So
exactly.
it's like, and then at least she'll remind you to like drink water and stuff like
Yeah.
that, which
She's like,
like,
"Mommy, remember?"
yeah. See, this is how I start. I like recruit them young, and then it's
Nice.
like get them all on board. So but it's quite nice actually. Then like you're inspiring, like, even when you know that younger generation actually taking it on board, it's really
Yeah,
nice because she sees you work out, she sees you eat well, like she'll come out for walks and things. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's quite
yeah.
nice. So
And I think as when we were kids, we didn't
yeah,
necessarily have that same, and not a criticism to my parents or
yeah,
that
yeah,
generation,
yeah,
but we didn't have that same kind of environment growing up. So
yeah,
there wasn't much value on those things.
yeah.
So I think it's important to instill that in her.
Yeah. Like out of interest, because in our family it was more like keep your head down in the books, like just revise, just read.
Yeah,
Going outside was like if you didn't want to be successful kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
when there'd be kids playing outside, I think
yeah,
my parents would literally just like judge those kids like playing football. And I'd be like, "Oh, that's really sad. Like, I want to be out." But I don't know,
yeah.
was yours the same or was it just my
Yes.
parents?
So it was very much kind of focus on like studying,
Yeah.
education,
Yeah.
and then the special things that we would do would all be
Yeah.
revolved around food. So
Yes.
someone's birthday, go to a restaurant. Someone did this, go
Yeah.
to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like anything, it would just be, and in ours it was like a food week. It was so
yeah,
mental. So it'd just be like, come on guys.
yeah,
Like it's but I guess back then, I know it make it sound like we're really old and we're not that old, but I guess it was more like a treat kind of going out. So like
yeah,
now it's like people go to like Costa every day or like can go out for dinner and it doesn't mean anything. But then it was
yeah,
like, oh, we've worked really hard. Let's treat the family with the money that we've made. And
yeah,
then, oh, food is something that is of value, and you know what I mean,
yeah,
versus
yeah. And I guess for them, their whole thing was like the way to bring the family together was around the table,
yes, yeah,
and that was what they tried to do.
yeah. And I guess in our culture as well, like that's how they show love and care is
Yeah,
by feeding. So if you don't eat, it's kind of like you're not reciprocating it sometimes, but
yeah,
actually then if you explain it and to be like, oh, come on, it's like more for health reasons and stuff like
yeah,
that. Because I always find they'll know someone who's got like diabetes, like they have to, right? So it'll
yeah,
be like, I don't want to be that person kind
yeah.
of things.
And I think actually you just reminded me,
Yeah.
one of the other challenge, like the biggest challenges I had was around that and
Yes.
kind of getting to a point where I wasn't being swayed or
Yeah.
kind of influenced by the judgment of like other family members and people
Yeah.
around me who'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
why are you eating that? Why, or, is our food not good enough for you? Or
Yeah.
like this kind of comments,
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
or just like the looks and things like that. And it took
Yeah.
me a while to kind of be comfortable to be like, actually,
Yeah.
this is my journey.
Yeah. And it's quite hard because obviously like we don't want to be rude when we do it, but also
Yeah,
like to have that confidence to speak up and be like, well, actually it's my body. I kind of want to have control of what I put in it
yeah,
versus someone else trying to like force it. And that's just again, it's out of love. It's never out of like spite that they're saying to eat more
no,
food and stuff like that. But it's just hard when you're trying to be so strong and like really
yeah,
stay on it. And then it's
yeah.
like, yeah,
I remember
especially
I
if
used
it's,
to get really upset with it and like
yeah,
uncomfortable, and then I'd wait for people to leave, and then I would eat, but then I'd be
yeah,
like so hungry and
yeah.
all of the things.
Yeah, and I remember there was that one time actually, and even I like even though like so the message a lot of it, like my heart really sank, and I was like, oh my god, like you would have just been so hungry because you didn't want to say something, and then it was
Yeah,
just like having that balance. But now
yeah,
actually, like if you've got people over, you actually make it work that you can eat the same food as them, and it's
yeah,
like they don't secretly know what they're having. Probably as
yeah,
well as
yeah,
cheese, they'll be happy. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
like put anything underneath it.
Yeah,
It's maybe not in a bad way essentially. So, yeah, but yeah, it's been so lovely like speaking to you about like how everything's been, and if there was anything else that you wanted to share or you thought actually I'd really like to get this out to people, would there be anything that you feel like I've missed or I've not asked you or
um,
Sorry, I put you on the spot there, didn't
Yeah.
I?
I'm probably going to go into bed tonight and be like, oh, I should have said that. Should have said that.
Yeah, always happens.
No, I think just kind of, I think if there was anyone like me that was listening to this,
Mm. Yeah,
I would just want them to know that like they can do it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and I know that's what people say,
yes,
but
yeah,
like having gone through this whole process
yeah,
and still going through the process,
yeah,
um, like there's nothing that you can't do.
yeah. I
And
love
I don't
that.
think I used to always believe that, but now I do.
Yeah. Oh,
Thanks to
that's
you.
so nice. Oh no, it's such a pleasure. And that's the thing, like, we'll all have these moments. And I think I've even said to you, like, I wouldn't say I know you can do it if I didn't think
Hmm.
you can do it, because some people, they can't make that mindset shift. Like it's really hard, or they may need to get like extra help to be able to do that. And that's also fine as well. But I kind of felt like with you, you're all like a mini me, if that makes sense. So like I was like, if I can do it, you can definitely, like I could help you through it.
Yeah.
And I think also like we've had like similar experiences and stuff like that. And it was just, I think, how I was saying, like, you've just been so inspiring with like how you've made that change, and you really trusted everything, and you keep chipping away at everything. And I
Hmm.
think there can be moments where it can feel very easy to just want to give up and
Yeah.
not to carry on. And I think that's like with you, Hina, like I was like, you've always kept your head going, even if things were like really, there's a lot going on and stuff like that. You were still just like, no, I've got this, I'm gonna do it, like,
Hmm.
just I'm gonna prove it to you, kind of thing, in
Yeah.
like a good way. And I'm like, yeah, do it, love it, like keep up
Yeah.
with it. So, and I'm here to support you as much as
Absolutely.
needed. So,
And I definitely don't think I would have had that mindset had I not been doing this journey with you, like not having that
oh,
weekly
yeah,
Monday kind of reset if when I
yes,
needed it and that kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But also just having someone in your corner who just believes without judgment, like
yeah,
just believes in you, like doesn't
yeah,
judge the horrible things that you think and say, and like
yeah,
I obviously tell you everything that I
yes,
say.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, like there's never been any judgment, stuff, which I
yeah.
appreciate.
Oh no, such a pleasure. And even sometimes, like what you've said, like we may think the situation's worse than it is. So I think once, um I may have got the story wrong, but I think you'd gone to McDonald's and you felt really bad. And
Yeah,
then I was just like, but it's actually not that bad. Like, I was like, if we actually look into it, it could have been way worse. And like, you actually picked really good like options and stuff like
yeah,
that. And I think it could have been quite easy to think, oh, do you know what? The whole week's a write off. I'll start again on Monday. And I was like, no, we'll just reset tomorrow. Like, it's fine.
yeah,
And you were like, oh, okay, cool. And then I think you were probably expecting a bit like a telling off or something. And I
yeah,
was like, no, like you've tracked it, you were honest about it. I'm cool with
yeah,
it. Like I may have had done that as well. Like
yeah.
it's like
I think
part
it's
of it.
like, I guess it's like in your mind, there's like certain places, certain foods that are like, oh,
Yeah.
that's like bad
Yes.
food, wrong food, like all of these
Yeah.
things that you've just kind of
Yeah.
drilled into your brain for years.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I guess we've been marketed that way probably as well, haven't we? Like
yeah,
with everything, like, being told that Special K is good and you can have it for 2 weeks,
yeah,
breakfast and dinner, and apparently that's healthy
tried
to
that.
lose weight. Yeah, Joe, so did I. And then you're like, where are the vegetables? Like, where are the
Yeah,
fruits? Like, where
exactly.
that dried frozen raspberry or whatever it
Yeah,
was. Like,
yeah.
I don't think you were supposed to have that one if you're on this 2 week thing. I think it
No,
had to be like
it's like
the
the plain Jane one.
yeah. And I think you're supposed to obviously stick to the portion size, not have full
Yeah,
fat milk. And I was like,
yeah.
no, it's gonna stick to that.
No,
Like,
like the portion of cereal that they recommend is
yeah.
like 3 spoons of cereal.
Yeah.
It's
Which
not
is
a portion.
like I've literally never seen anyone like stick to it. And you only get that variety box. And you're
Yeah,
just like, you need like 4 of these to
yeah,
go in a bowl. Like
yeah.
it's like, really not worth it. You just
No.
buy the whole pack. So it's yeah. So that's what I like to hope. Like everything I always say is like realistic, because you can see I
Yeah,
still love food. It's not like like when I'm maintaining, it's still enjoying life essentially,
yeah,
right? So
yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm glad that I've been able to do all of these things in my life still and still
yeah.
participate
Yeah.
and actually find involvement out with the food as well.
Yes. Yeah. And then like, yeah, just enjoying it. And sometimes I'll even say, like, if you're going somewhere that's like known for something, I'll be like, just enjoy it today. Like the
Yeah,
rest of your week's been okay.
yeah.
And you'll be like, no, I'm sticking to it. And I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. Like I'm like, fine. Like I was just trying to be nice here. But also I
But to
do
be fair,
appreciate like
yeah,
yeah,
I do
go on.
still think about that pasta I had in London, which is like the
Yes.
best pasta I've ever had
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
Like there was no guilt with that.
Yeah. And that's, I think we need to keep it realistic, because we'll remember those moments as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Love that. Oh, amazing. Well, it's been so nice, like, just to catch up with you and for you to like share your journey, because like, as I said, and even you've said as well, like, if you can help just one person, just make them believe that they can do it, like,
Yeah,
it's life changing, because it's essentially like, it's not just about losing weight, as you said, it's about getting fitter, about getting healthier. And I feel
yeah,
like, especially like being Asian, we're more prone, and obviously because you work in like in the pharmaceutical side, you see it, like Asians are prone to like diabetes, heart issues, and stuff like that. So
yeah,
if there's a way just to help reduce that in people, just to live a longer, healthier life,
yeah.
then yeah, it's amazing to know that
Why
you've
not?
helped someone on that. So yeah,
Absolutely. And like, I think I'm definitely like, you know me well. Like, I'm
yeah,
definitely not like kind of up and doing stuff every second of the day. Like, if
yeah,
the opportunity to chill is there, I will always take that opportunity to chill.
yeah,
And I don't think that's changed.
yeah.
But I found the time to do the things I never thought I had time for.
Yeah. And I think that's really important, that you've kind of made that balance. So it's not like you've had to stop doing like the chill time and like completely change, like, you haven't woken up at like 3 in the morning to get everything done or something like that. It's like you've done it in a way that's worked. And then, as we
Yeah,
said, like, then we could like always change targets and stuff as needed. Like if doing loads of steps a day doesn't work, then we like change it all around, and it's like
yeah,
just what works for you. And it's working, which is
yeah,
amazing to see as well. Although on the weekend you had some crazy steps, like in London, didn't you? So
yeah.
it
We
was
walked
like,
so far. I think we did like 4.5 miles or something ridiculous
love
like
it.
that.
Yeah. But again, like before, you probably never, that wouldn't have even like crossed your mind to even
No,
do, right? So
no. I would have got the train ticket with the underground day pass, so that I would have
yes.
taken the underground.
Yeah. And then like just got there, enjoyed the food, and then left. And then
Yeah,
like, yeah.
slept on the train.
Yeah, exactly. And probably like been a bit tired from like certain food or something like that. And now you'd be like
Yeah,
full of beans. And then like Hardik would be like, oh my God, what's happened to her? Like she
yeah,
got too much
exactly.
energy.
Yeah, because
Like
he's still ordering pizza.
yeah, that's the thing, it's so hard, right, when like the person you live with is like not on the same page at times, or they don't
Yeah,
understand. Like if you go to a family member's house, they're like, oh, what's the big deal, you can just have something, and you're like, well, actually it can add up, but it's like, and actually I don't
yeah,
want to have it, so is it okay if I don't? And then it's
yeah,
like, even that can be like tough to kind of have those conversations. And I know I have that with Arjun like so many times, and it will be
mhm,
like, actually I'd rather just do this, and then you've just got to have that awkward moment inside to be like, oh, I've got to bring this up now.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
like,
But then once it's done, it's done.
yeah, yeah,
They'll just
exactly.
look at you funny and then they'll get over it. Like they'll
Yeah,
carry on with what
exactly.
they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then next time you say it, it's not then weird. They're like, oh, I know what she's going to say. It's fine. Like,
yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like, yeah.
That's the
So,
thing.
yeah. Oh, amazing. Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Really,
you.
really loved this. It's just been amazing, yeah, having you on. And I can't actually wait to see like how you carry on with your journey, which will just be
Yeah,
cool to
yeah,
see as well. So massive thank you. And I'm just gonna stop recording now
yeah.
as well. That's okay. Ooh, let me just